Beginning landing cycle.
Hold very still, and choose your words carefully. They will determine how long you live. You have no right to be here. You will tell me how you found this place. But it was lost. All communication ceased. There was no sign of it.
We had feared as much, but it is good to know for certain. Voris, I think we need not fear our guest. Perhaps, in this time of need, the Great Serpent has delivered us a gift.
Counselor, with due respect, we have not had unannounced visitors here in generations. It is a clear breach of security.
I do not disagree, and I know that security, in whatever small form we can grasp it, is of paramount importance. But you must acknowledge the timing is curious. And perhaps our guest's intent should be determined before we take further action. We received the automated transmission, but you are certainly not who we expected to find.
Great Serpent,
What's happening again?
hear me.
Speaker, we are here!
We have reached out to you to seek guidance in our hour of need. The gate in the Citadel has been opened just to seek you. Have I failed you? What is this place? Where am I? Why do you not show yourself? I strive only to follow your command. All must serve. Please, do not leave me in darkness. I seek only your wisdom, your guidance. Great Serpent, your children cry out to you. Will you not answer us?
Our leader, Anakso Va'ruun, he has appeared like this over and over. So many of our people have been trapped in this state, these vortex phantoms. But usually they are hostile and lash out. Anakso is different. If only we could hear his voice, some reassurance that all is not lost. Anakso Va'ruun is our leader, the grandson of Jinan Va'ruun himself. He sometimes appears to us, but we cannot interact. You could hear him. Despite the sightings, none have heard the word from Anakso in all this time, yet you claim to. Do not toy with me. Not about this. If you speak truth, you must prove it. What did he say? By the Serpent. No outsider would know our creed. It is never uttered beyond this city. Truly, you did hear Anakso. You have been chosen. People of House Va'ruun, hear me! We have asked the Great Serpent for deliverance from our calamity, and he has answered us. This outsider has been chosen as the most unlikely vessel for the Great Serpent's divine providence, and he will help save us all. Outsider, please. There is no denying you have been sent here as a sign. You must help us. But there are There are precepts that must be followed, principles that must be obeyed. Even in these dire circumstances, we cannot turn from Jinan Va'ruun's teachings. You will be granted safe passage through Dazra and the lands beyond. No harm will come to you. On that, you have my word. But to truly aid us, you must become part of House Va'ruun. This is not a thing done lightly, and it cannot be taken back. Will you commit to helping us by becoming one of the promised? We, the people of House Va'ruun, are the promised. The Great Serpent has blessed us with knowledge of the future and our place in it. Our service to him guarantees us a place in the new worlds he will create when he returns to enshroud the universe. A greater gift could not be bestowed upon you. You must mean the Zealots. I assure you, they do not represent House Va'ruun. We do not engage with the settled systems. They would attack us just as soon as you or anyone else. And they would certainly never extend an offer to join them, as I do now in this time of desperation. So, will you? Excellent. Please, come with me. Forgive me for not introducing myself. I am Malibor Dul'kehf, a member of the High Council of House Va'ruun. I have been asked to represent the Council in this moment. Please, enter our city. You have my word that you will not be harmed. I would ask that until you have become promised, you avoid the citizens of Dazra. They are not used to outsiders. Open the gate! I must tell you what I revealed for now, but surely you saw the scaled citadel as you arrived. It was the center of an explosion of sorts that has annihilated most of our city. We have lost many of our brothers and sisters. I believe we are still in danger.
If you have been sent to us, then I hope you can help.
Counselor, what is the meaning of this? Is there a problem, Makula?
The city is in shambles, the speaker is missing, and here you are leading some outsider through our sacred space? Why allow this husk to defile our city? Have we not lost enough?
Have faith. I believe this outsider was guided here by the Great Serpent himself. And soon, Serpent willing, they will be one of us. But I can be sure and pass your concerns on to the rest of the High Council, if you wish. I apologize for the interruption. There is a ritual intended for converts to the Promised that has not been performed in generations. We are fortunate that there are those still alive who remember the old ways and have remained prepared for such a moment as this.
Chosen by the Serpent himself? You?
Herald Inaza, I suspected we might find you here waiting.
I saw the ship landing. I knew immediately that I would be needed.
Indeed you are. This is Inaza Kaisir, Herald of the Serpent. She will guide you through the ritual. I am needed elsewhere, but I assure you that you are in good hands.
So, the Great Serpent sends you to me. No husk that walk the Serpent's path. To enter the sacred cave, there is no turning back. You will be forever changed. This is a path you must walk of your own free will, alone. Will you step forward and emerge anointed, one of the promised? A lesson. A test. A moment for the Great Serpent to reach out and feel you as something more than what you have been. You have not been filled with purpose by the Great Serpent, so you are merely a husk. But perhaps not for long. Then enter, and I shall guide you along the Serpent's path. You must walk the path. I am merely here to guide you along your way. I carry on the traditions that Anakso Va'ruun began and maintain our people's connection to the Great Serpent. I and others like me look after the temples and offer guidance to those who need it. And now, it seems I am called upon to help the Serpent's call fill a new vessel. Truly, I am blessed. A difficult question. The original converts were accepted in the years after House Va'ruun first made contact with the settled systems. Once the Serpent's crusade began, there were fears that anyone from the outside could be spies, infiltrators. And after the crusade, few were eager to join. When Anakso Va'ruun's son Jarek took power, we pulled back, rejected contact with non-believers. We removed any avenues for converts to find us. But there were those among us who hoped that one day we might help others see the light of the Great Serpent's teachings. And if we can survive our current situation, your presence here now might sway opinions on future converts. The Serpent's path will tell you what you need to know for now. After that, the Council awaits. After that, I will be at the temple as I always am. And I will offer counsel as I would to any of the promised. It has served more than one purpose for our people over the generations. For a brief time, it was home. But then, in his wisdom, Anakso Va'ruun saw fit to turn it into a way for those outside House Va'ruun to begin to learn, to join us in following the Great Serpent. That ended after the Serpent's crusade. It feels right to see it used again now, in our time of need. Let the Great Serpent forever guide you. Before House Va'ruun, there were humans. First on Earth, then scattered among the stars. And like all humans, they were lost souls, wandering in the dark, looking for a path. One particular colony ship housed several hundred of these souls. They were each alone and isolated, individual tiny flames that could be snuffed out at a moment's notice. But Anakso Va'ruun encountered the Great Serpent and was given the gift of knowledge. He shared his knowledge with those around him and lit the way for them. They followed his guidance and his light, and they cast aside the burdens of their former lives. And thus, House Va'ruun was born. Now you too have the chance to cast aside your burdens, to relieve yourself of anything that holds you back. The people's hopes and fears and dreams were entrusted to the Great Serpent. They made the leap of faith that brought House Va'ruun to greatness. You may now follow in their footsteps and take that same leap. Embrace the Great Serpent, and he will embrace you. The people of House Va'ruun settled this world, at first in these very caves. Va'ruun himself slept among them in these shelters. It was here that he spread the word of the Serpent. It was here that the people of House Va'ruun first understood the truth of their place in the universe. And it was here that the people of House Va'ruun first understood the truth of the shrouding. The Great Serpent's return. He will encircle the universe he created, and all those who do not follow will be cast into shadow. And the people weighed this knowledge against their former lives, and saw how they had been blessed despite the difficult new life that awaited them. You too would do well to feel that solace amidst the pain. Until that day comes, we are the voice and the hands of the Great Serpent. Our every act a sacrifice to hasten his return. Make now a sacrifice to prove your devotion. And remember, whether in life or in death, all must serve. Let us begin the final ritual. While none since Anakso Va'ruun have stood before the Great Serpent, we can all feel his presence. To solidify his bond, you are presented with a simple choice. Before you on this dais are several items. They represent different aspects of House Va'ruun's connection to the Great Serpent. Pick the two that call to you. Place them on the altars. Offerings to the Great Serpent that he may fill you with his spirit and make you promise. And so you arise, one of the promised of House Va'ruun. Did you feel the Great Serpent working within you? Do you feel born anew? Through strength and perseverance, House Va'ruun will triumph over all that stands in its way. I grant you the title of Vindicator. All will know you. All will trust you. Above us, in the grand ship morning, jewel of the Va'ruun fleet, the High Council awaits your arrival. Serve them. Serve the Great Serpent. All must serve.
May the Great Serpent bless you.
You would speak with me? Good to see you.
Welcome, Vindicator. You stand before what remains of the High Council, advisors to Anakso Va'ruun. We are all that is left after the disaster that has befallen our people. I represent House Dul'kehf. Jamal is from House Kavnyk, and we are joined by Lovek of House Vital. We are, all of us, hopeful that your arrival in Dazra and your clear connection to Anakso Va'ruun, for the first time in weeks, represent some semblance of hope. Collectively, we unite under the banner of House Va'ruun, pledged to follow Jinan Va'ruun and his descendants. But our society is not a monolith. Jinan, in his wisdom, shepherded the first of us into families that we might grow and prosper. Our 3 families have for generations now helped to govern the people of House Va'ruun, and offer counsel to our leader. But you do. We have only seen brief glimpses of him since the incident. But you heard him speak. How can that be taken as anything other than providence? Please, just allow us a moment to explain.
By all means, Malibor. I can't wait to see how you spin this.
Please, can we just for a moment...
Can we just for a moment what? Discuss whether or not to allow the first convert to House Va'ruun since before any of us were born? A bit late on that, it seems.
You were not there. You did not see Anakso. It felt different. We have already wasted so much time...
You're correct. I was not there. Because you elected to travel to the spaceport on your own. And then decided this on your own.
Do not waste time with more bickering. Anakso, and by extension House Va'ruun, suffers with every passing moment.
Of course, Lovek. My apologies. Please, Malibor. Do go on.
Anakso Va'ruun, like his father before him, has relied on the teachings of Jinan to guide us. Anakso wondered if perhaps it was time to seek guidance directly from the Great Serpent, and so sought a means of reaching out.
Perhaps he found the teachings inadequate.
Careful, Kavnyk. You tread on dangerous ground.
I mean nothing by it. We simply were never consulted on the matter and do not know the full motive.
The point is that a series of experiments have taken place over the years, utilizing grav drive technology to hopefully make direct contact with the Great Serpent, similar to Jinan Va'ruun's initial meeting.
And then something went wrong.
We do not know what happened. We were not inside the Scaled Citadel at the time.
Had we been, we wouldn't be standing here now. We'd be like the rest of them.
A great tide of energy emanated from the Scaled Citadel and swept across Dazra. Much was destroyed in its wake. Those caught in the blast have been left in a state of confusion, trapped halfway between our universe and the vortex. The Citadel itself remains in such a state. Right there and yet beyond our reach. We can only assume that the experiment is still running, somehow preventing us from entering the Citadel. We cannot get in, so we cannot stop it. We're beginning to lose hope before you arrived. Forgive me, I am no scientist, but as it has been explained to me, what we call the vortex is the space between universes. It has only been a few weeks. There had been efforts to put together some kind of response, some plan. But they had fallen apart. Your arrival and your interaction with Anakso shows that he can still be saved. A plan had been devised to access the Citadel, but the work stalled. Clearly, it is time to move forward with it. The current head of our science team, Ekris, should be in Jinan Plaza down below us, towards the Citadel. Tell him about your experience with Anakso. and that work on the mourning device must proceed.
Yes, what may I do for you? I was outside the city, visiting a friend at his farm. We saw the flash of light from inside, and by the time we made it outside, you know, in that moment, I worried it was my fault. That I had somehow not been faithful enough, that I had not believed. I still find myself worrying that we are being punished, that we have affronted the Great Serpent in some way, and that this is our penance. Indeed, Serac was my cousin. I know they were assigned to the Oracle, and Malibor relayed their final report sent by the station. They walk with the Great Serpent now. Serac was a respected scientist, dedicated to the Great Serpent. They spent every moment engrossed in their work, a true testament of faith. It was their greatest honor to be selected for the Oracle. The Oracle's fate will be tabled for a future discussion. We have more important issues at hand. 87 souls reside with the Great Serpent now. Many were some of the finest scientific minds House Va'ruun had to offer. They will be remembered alongside those we lost here in Dazra. Of course. Oh, it was breathtaking. A true testament to the will of Anakso Va'ruun and our faith in the Great Serpent. To have started from nothing and to have accomplished so much. I pray to the Serpent that we can someday reclaim all that we have lost.
Something I can do for you? Good to see you. No, it's complicated. Anakso Va'ruun himself established the rules. Let me see if I can make it easy for you. The Speaker has supreme authority. He is the voice of the Great Serpent. The houses each handle some function of daily life and are individually run by the Elder of the House. Each of the houses also appoints a mediary to the High Council to inform and advise the Speaker. It's a separate position from the Elder, with a lesser degree of authority and prestige. Now is hardly the time to be entertaining such thoughts. So you must have a head for politics, or you're good at pretending. Either way, you will fit right in here. Don't take it personally. We have been through so much these last few weeks. The Council is attempting to claw back some semblance of order from the chaos, steer things past this somehow. And then Malibor goes and throws you into the middle of all this without even consulting us. It's just one more breach of a protocol that barely exists anymore. I am over it, I assure you. It is good to have you with us, and we are finally moving forward. Serpent guide you.
Did you need something? Not long, though it feels like an eternity. Jamal and I had only been a part of the Council for maybe a year before all this, and we were only ever in subordinate roles. It has been quite a challenge to accept this new level of responsibility. Lovek, on the other hand, has served on the Council for quite a long time. He rarely lets us forget it. Any decision about House Va'ruun is the Speaker's to make, but Anakso Va'ruun in his wisdom saw fit to create the High Council to help advise those decisions. We offer perspectives and opinions that can often contradict one another, which can ultimately help the Speaker to guide our people. Or, at least that is how it was before all this. Now, with the Speaker gone, we have temporarily taken over making decisions in his stead. Once this is all behind us, we can restore the intended order of things. That depends a great deal on who you ask. Generations ago, we made a decision to pull back from the settled systems. Some amongst us saw that as a mistake, an abandonment of House Va'ruun's true calling. The schism within our people grew until some took it upon themselves to leave and declare themselves the true descendants of Jinan Va'ruun. They are, of course, factually wrong and incredibly misguided. He has led House Va'ruun since the death of his father Jarek. He is determined to return House Va'ruun to glory. He believed he was on the cusp of realizing that goal, and now, well, you have seen him. I should perhaps not speak too much of it, but there has been concern that he was lost to us. Your interaction with him gives me hope. If you can hear him, he is not beyond rescue.
The scientists out at Hamadi Station?
The old married couple? Azad and Shireen, if I remember right. I've met them a few times. They seemed a little eccentric, but were otherwise quite nice.
That's them, yes. They're apparently looking for some help with their research. They made some kind of discovery that has them troubled.
Good luck finding help at a time like this.
Indeed. Yet the Serpent provides for the faithful, so who knows?
Nothing is truly impossible.
Things they expect me to accomplish. Well, look who it is. You have made quite a stir, and given the state of things, that is a singular accomplishment. To what do I owe the honor, Vindicator? At the moment, obviously a great deal of nothing. Have the High Council to thank for that. Politics and expedience rarely pair well. Did he now? How magnanimous. But approval is approval, and I will gladly take it. I will spare you much of the technical detail, as I confess that pieces of it I barely understand myself. One cannot help but notice the energy field around the Scaled Citadel. Until we can get through it, we cannot shut down the experiment inside, and it has proved quite impossible to get through. We had the beginnings of a plan to build a makeshift contraption to redirect grav drive energy to see if we could penetrate the barrier, but the project came to a halt. Politics got in the way. Every one of the houses needs to contribute, and every one realized they could potentially use it for leverage. What should have been a cooperative effort turned contentious. Easy decisions became negotiations. And so, construction never began. We have sat here, staring at this disaster as supplies pile up for well over a week now. Serpent help us, it is infuriating. The council just so happens to represent the 3 houses under Va'ruun's banner, who are also entrusted with various aspects of running, well, everything. Each of those houses needs to contribute something to the project, so the council is the final stopgap. Were the speaker here, he could bypass all of it with a wave of his hand, but, well, you have already seen the state he's in. Indeed. All must serve. I believe I've done enough complaining for now. Time to get to work. If you're here, the council has likely sent word to the houses that it's time to stop the infighting. I doubt it will be enough. I need to oversee construction here, make sure things are built to specifications. If you could follow up with the houses, that may speed up the process. I appreciate that someone around here is eager to get to work. House Fetal owes us access codes for the city power grid. It's the only way to guarantee enough power to activate the device. House Kavnyk was supposed to provide a young scientist named Sahima to help me. She had at least some experience with the original Citadel experiment. No idea why they refused to send her. And Hasmek, the new elder of House Dul'kehf, he has been distant, guarded. He claims to have vital information about an important component of the experiment, but has withheld it until now. Help me get what we need, and we will see what we can do for the Speaker, and for House Va'ruun. And I may have something that can help you in whatever trials the Serpent puts before you as we navigate this. We have been nearly overwhelmed with all that has happened over the last few weeks, but I have still spent some time doing my own research when I can. These phantoms, the vortex. Fascinating subject, really. If only there were some less disastrous way we could have discovered all this. Yes, exactly. I am glad I am not the only one who can see that. Does nothing to make the loss any easier, but still. We have encountered several interesting phenomena. First, while the phantoms shift to a fully human form when killed, they often retain small shards that appear to be an almost crystallized version of vortex energy. Second, we have learned that killing the phantoms sometimes causes an even greater disturbance. Horrors, as they have been colloquially termed, can appear from somewhere. We are unsure of their origin, but it is not within our universe. These horrors and their spawn are infested with cysts, a seemingly organic manifestation of vortex energy. We have managed to collect enough to run experiments and have devised a method of combining them into an explosive mixture with varying properties. While they have no use in the development of the morning device, if you find yourself out in the field, I believe they could have more practical applications. The process is simple enough that any industrial workstation should suffice, if you have the materials. And depending on how you combine said materials, you may find the results to be somewhat variable. I hope you can use that to your advantage. Just look around. I'm sure you have at least some idea of how much we have physically lost. A huge portion of the city is just gone. And those left behind are struggling. Supplies are limited. There is so much work to be done, and we are all just so tired. I hope that eventually we can return things to the way they were, but we must be realistic. That will take time, and I suspect a great deal of it. Yes, depending on how much trouble you're getting into. We have been nearly overwhelmed with all that has happened over the last few weeks, but I have still spent some time doing my own research, when I can. These phantoms, the vortex. Fascinating subject, really. If only there were some less disastrous way we could have discovered all this.